Hit it and quit it, but don't quit it yet. This is episode 22 of the Tales from the Head series here with Danny and myself. We had a little break because we did the holiday thing, the little holiday season, with the music and all the crooner and some egg. I don't really drink much. I drink a little eggnog, but I don't go crazy. But
I didn't.
you, sir, were in Mexico.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we jump right into your holiday, your synopsis of your holiday week, because it's probably a little more interesting than mine.
For sure, man. No, I spent Christmas here at the here in the States. Um we spent it here and then I flew out to Mexico on the 26th. And I mean straight up before we start getting hate email and text messages and stuff like that, which you guys are more than welcome. We like
Oh,
to
yeah,
interact with you.
TFTH at gmail.com for any hate mail or complaints.
Yeah, absolutely. Um I was very redundant. I was very like a- against the fence about taking the trip. I bought my ticket. I bought my ticket and my dad's ticket in like late August around my birthday. It was kind of like a gift, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to my parents' hometown in Mexico in like 4 years. I'm like, I want to go. I want to go. My parents are we're not my parents, but us, my brother, myself, my sister, my youngest brother also, we're all putting in together and we're remodeling my parents' home in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So it went from like a small 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom, like small house to like a fucking 5 story, five five bedrooms, three
Jeez.
bathrooms. We just like reamped it and it's coming out so nice. I'm so excited because now it's something that we can go home. It's something we call home once we go home. I mean, granted, like I'm used to sleeping at my grandma's or aunt's, but now it's gonna be like our home in Mexico.
Home away from
And
home.
exactly, and it's like, is my parents where they're gonna be able to sleep, and it's just kind of like it. I think my parents were like not against it also because it roots us to go back to Mexico, and not forget our roots.
Right.
Which we love going to Mexico. I'm always forever grateful for my parents forcing us to go to Mexico. I'm not sure if I ever shared this with you, Coop, but like growing up, we never did any cool vacations. Like it'll be over the holidays and everybody be like, "Oh yeah, we went to Lake Tahoe. We went to like they'll say all these cool
Yeah.
places they went to," and I was like, "Oh yeah, we went to Mexico."
Yeah, but you went to like
Eh,
a country, bro. Like, fuck Lake Tahoe.
Well, yeah, but like when you're small, like I
Yeah.
guess I was ignorant to it, and now that I'm older, and I like reflect on the situation because that's what we do here. We encourage you here in Tales from the Head to reflect on situations to grow.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, dude, how fucking badass and how like lucky I am that I was able to go to Mexico. So were my brothers and so were my parents, and then we were able to come back legally without any like restrictions or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is such a freaking like advantage and such a freaking privilege
Mm-hmm.
that I really didn't appreciate until I got much older. So so we went, like I said, I was kind of against the fence on it, but at the end of the day, I saw it more as like a mental break.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, just leave the craziness that is United States and just go over and just don't worry about anything for like a week. And it was great. I mean, my parents are from a small town, maybe like 20, 30,000 people tops, no outsiders, kind of remote, secluded area. So it wasn't like a big city. Like sure, there was fear of COVID. There always fear of COVID, but even then, like I was out there with my mask in public places.
Right.
Still, it honestly, everybody over there followed protocol. Some same like here. You have some people out there without masks, but so I'm pretty sure people in the Central Valley are like that also. So
I don't care, dude. Like, that's their fucking
yeah,
prerogative, dude. And
yeah,
that's what we need to get away from as Americans, dude. We care too much about other people. We care too much about what other
exactly.
people are doing. And I bring this up because we live in the great state of California, and that's what I've been doing for the last few months and pissing
Hmm.
people off. But I politically don't agree with this state at all. But
Hmm.
once again, that doesn't mean I have a right or it's healthy for me to complain and be upset that people think different than me. But I've been
Yeah.
noticing that as a main issue lately. It's funny. It's just so much hypocrisy politically right now, and it's
Mm-hmm.
bothersome to me. But that's why I really haven't said much about this whole Capitol thing. I mean, besides
Yeah.
the person dying, obviously is a tragedy. And it's terrible, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what color skin they are. I don't care. Um,
Yeah.
it's fucked up. No one
A-
should have died.
yeah. A death is a death, and
A death is a
I think,
death.
and I think the toll now is like 5 people actually
I didn't
deaths or
even know
so.
that.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to say that I didn't like was,
Mm-hmm.
I'm call me ignorant, but I'm just gonna say this because I'm confused.
No,
So
get it off your chest.
yeah, okay. So this whole thing, I don't like Trump. I'm not a Trump supporter, but I call both sides out on their shit.
You have
And,
to.
I do, and I piss everyone off, and I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
But I am so annoyed at Biden because he's totally creating racial tension worse than it already is. And the thing I'm going to say to back that statement up was the fact that he put out a tweet saying, if these protesters weren't white, the situation would have been handled way different. Okay, well, dude, my problem with that, dude, is there weren't just white people there, and the lady who died actually was white.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're making this shit storm against white people, while someone who is white is dead now, it wasn't a black person. It wasn't the person of color who died. It was a white lady. I'm not saying I give a shit or I'm like, oh God, another white woman died. But if we're going to shed tears about black people dying, we're going to shed tears about Mexicans, Asians, Ethiopians, Indians, Pakistanis, whatever you want to say, Vietnamese. I mean, we just got to be fair. And
Yeah.
I'm getting sick of it, man. I feel like growing up as a white guy, I didn't have this like window and aura of privilege that I'm learning and seeing about. I mean, I know those exist, but it didn't really exist in the area we grew up in really as much.
But you know why, Coop, right? You know why? Because you're not the majority.
No, I know, but
the
you get
no,
lumped in
no,
the you get
no, no,
lumped though, and that's what sucks.
Yeah, because and that's just stereotypes and assumptions. Think just because you're white, you're part of the majority. But no, because Coop, I know you, and
Yeah.
the majority is white. I'm sorry, Caucasian men, Christian who are rich, and we now as the adults we're financially stable.
Yeah.
But growing up, we come up from a working class or a lower working class family struggling. You know, there's a reason why Coop you're living in East San Jose and not like in Willow Glen or
Yeah. True.
Los
True.
Gatos. So
Well, dude, yeah, I
that's
mean,
something.
humble
So
beginnings.
I get it that you're like, oh, I didn't see those privileges because you're not. Unfortunately, reality, you're not one of the privileged ones.
But I mean, it is a little bit of a tangent on what I'm saying. But like I'm saying, for everything, and this is what I'm noticing, this is foreshadowing, for everything that people on the left hate about Trump, Biden so far has pretty much done the same thing, just in a slightly different tone. He's race betting just like everyone else, but the only thing about Biden versus Trump is Trump is a little less eloquent. Or now that's not even good. Biden's not good at talking. Trump is just a more abrasive way of communicating.
Trump's not a
no matter what he's, and I'm okay with because I hate politicians, but I'm not saying I like Trump, but I think that formula is something we need to look into. Clearly, politician doesn't mean success or anything we can trust. So I once again, I still think that's a silly argument against Trump because look at all the career politicians that aren't doing shit either.
Exactly.
But, like I said, this isn't the soapbox to defend Trump in any way. The thing I don't like is just where I see the country trying to go. I don't think it's going to get there. I think we're not as weak as the government or the politicians and the media think we are. Because it clearly seems like they're trying to divide people. Last year it was all about, last year it was all about the Black Lives Matter movement, which is still going on. It looks like it's going to carry on to this year, but it was really like about something different than this rally. This rally was about voter fraud. It doesn't matter whether you agree with it or not. That's why those people were there. They were there because they didn't believe the votes were counted correctly. And they actually were able to overturn and get the votes to be recounted. But for some reason, Pence didn't do it. There's a lot of red flags that are spooky to me. But, the whole point of this rally was like they were unhappy with the outcome of the election. That has nothing to do with black lives. That has nothing to do with black people. It has nothing to do with racial tension. Yet our future president brings us back. And, dude, like we were dealing with so much shit last year with racial tension, with protests, with property damage, with discussions on how we feel on things. And it was so tense. And I feel like even though politically a lot of people dislike Trump and they're so stressed out about it, at the end of the day, dude, Trump's not showing up to your house and causing you active pain. So I get it. I know you don't like. I know people don't like the guy, but it's like, but when you have a person that's straight up like saying, "Oh, like white people get treated way better than black people," he didn't say that word for word, but that's heavily what was implied.
It was implied,
and. Yeah, so what is the outcome of those words? Mm-hmm. Now, what does that make people think? Typically, that makes them think, once again, we're just cementing the whole stereotype that white people have it better than everyone else. And he's making a general statement. He's not saying X is better than Y. No, he's like saying like this whole group has got it way better than this other group. And I'm like, well, hold on there, dude. Like, first of all, look at the color of your fucking skin, bro. And, like, look how fake your ass is. So you're part of that. You're a white devil, too. So that just annoys me. It's just frustrating.
And then those who have it well or who well off and form, who are, white, if you will.
Right.
It's a subculture of that. It's the rich billionaires who are putting money into his politicians who wanted to keep on doing this. Those are the ones who really have it all.
Yeah, and
those are the ones who really have it. The working ones and the one out there protesting and stuff, they don't. Unfortunately, let's be honest about it. And unfortunately, I understand why minorities are upset of the reaction from yesterday.
But I'm confused. Why though?
Because basically, from what I see it, and myself also, I'm a little bit upset about it.
Yeah.
During the whole Black Lives Matter. I was out there in downtown San Jose, marching, taking a knee and stuff like that, and solidarity, showing support for my brothers. Yeah, there you go. Showing support for my my brothers and sisters who identify themselves as Black. And there was this tension, there's this fear that at any moment these cops might throw like rubber bullets or gas bombs at us or something, and they were there. Like they were there.
Okay, so police, right. I think I get where you're coming from. So you're saying you're annoyed because of the lack of police activity.
Exactly. I think
I'm in 100% agreement with you, actually. Like,
and I think that's where biggest. That's where and it goes back to you said, like, if the police and the government, if the police treated Black Lives Matter movement the way they did, if we would have seen that yesterday, how with the Capitol, I think it wouldn't become a race thing,
right? But see,
they didn't get the same treatment.
But see, you worded it more responsibly than our president worded it, our future president worded it, and that's the problem I have, because you even said you took the time and the respect, and it's not just because I'm here. I know how you are. There wouldn't need to be a white person in here for you to say that, but you straight up were like, this wasn't handled properly, like the way these were.
Exactly.
He didn't say that though, and that's the thing that's annoying. Mm-hmm. Is like, once again, what's with these people in a position of power that have a responsibility of what they say? Because how much shit did Trump get for the things he said that weren't responsible? Yeah, that weren't good to say. And it's like, here we go again. We just got another dumbass person. And it's just it's frustrating, dude. And so many people think because it's not Trump, he's like Jesus.
Yeah,
that's fine.
And I mean,
I know you aren't like that, but it just sucks.
I mean, of course, I'm going to vote for Biden over Trump. That's just how I'm programmed. That's who I am. But Biden wasn't even my second or third or maybe even fifth.
I don't think
person.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people. I think most people could admit that.
Yeah,
and that's how pathetic our. It's like, what's the point of voting if our primaries are like that's like having a playoff right? A playoff system, right? For let's
Yeah.
just say for football or any sport, and
Yeah.
and it's not based on how many wins you got.
Yeah.
It's like that doesn't
It,
make sense. Every other
it
competition we do is based on merit that you earn and that's credibly proven. And
yeah.
and so far we've learned in the last 20 years while we've been alive that no election or votes are really properly counted, or and this whole thing is kind of a dog and pony show.
hmm But just to bring it up to pop culture, because I'm not sure about you, but I've been watching
Yeah.
Cobra Kai like crazy.
I've
I
heard
mean,
good things, and I think I was on like a couple episodes of the first season, but I need to keep going because I
I,
actually am
I
digging
I
it.
strongly recommend it.
Yeah.
But because of Cobra Kai, I started rewatching Karate Kid 1 and 2 and 3. I mean, it doesn't take that much for me. As soon as they're on TV on the AMC,
Yeah.
I'll see them with commercials and all. But it's kind of like what you're saying about Biden. I'm going to compare it to Daniel LaRusso in part 3, where instead of fighting the whole tournament, since he was the champion, he just had to go and fight one fight,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
he's
yeah.
the champion. That's exactly what just happened with Biden. He didn't have to go.
Yeah, you
He
didn't
came
really.
in like,
Excuse me.
yeah, he came in halfway and he's like, "Hey, I'm running. Hey, I'm the champion now. Like I'm the president." Like, no, no, fool, no,
It's
I
just
wanted Bernie. You know?
yeah, but that's the thing that sucks, man. Is I feel like the more we play into that, the more we're not fixing it, because
Yeah,
at the end of the day, the lesser of two evils isn't what we want,
exactly,
and that's what we're
exactly.
doing. And I'm not, and, this isn't me coming down on you. This is, I mean, everyone does it, and it's
Yeah,
just like eventually, like I get it though. They're like, okay, there's no option. It's like, or a lot of people don't even do enough research, and
yeah,
a lot of it is laziness because of how our society's become. We don't spend more than 30 seconds doing anything, and
we don't want to read the article. We just read the
we
headline.
just read the headline. We do everything. We've become so lazy and irresponsible with our information, which is sad because we have so much at our fingertips that we can.
Yeah,
Granted, it's a lot of there's a lot of false stuff out there, but I'm just saying it's hard to be. You could be misinformed now, but to be uninformed is a higher, a complete level of ignorance that I'm unaware of.
yeah.
Like, it's really easy to know the wrong information, but to not know any, it's like, dude, you got to be pretty stupid.
Yeah, and I think and I think you nailed it, dude. I think that's the biggest problem. Like the fact that we're so used to information just being thrown at us, and like for some reason we're believed that our time is very valuable, which is true.
Yeah.
But like that's one thing I noticed bringing it back to Mexico. Here in the United States, we're all about the fast pace. Like,
Hmm.
just give me the information, give me the details. Blah blah blah. Tell me what I need to know about this, so I can create my own opinion about that
Right.
without going. And then Mexico is just such a lower. It's just it's such a slower pace of life. Not granted, everybody's in a hurry.
Right.
Everybody's got shit to do,
Hmm.
but it's just like a more relaxed type of environment. Where maybe just because I'm being a tourist and I don't feel as pressured or anything as I am over here. So maybe that's one thing I need to also take into consideration.
Right.
But it's just like the whole something about it's just going as soon as you cross that border into Mexico, like for some reason, like the stress and everything, all the troubles that prior to that, like it just gets lifted. They're still there. You still know
Right.
you have to deal that, but it's not in your face. It's not like you're in a constant rush to like survive.
Can I ask you a follow-up question on what you just said?
Absolutely
How many mornings did you watch the news when you were in Mexico?
none,
There you go. I'm
none.
telling you, dude. There you go. And I know you want to be
None.
informed, and I'm with you because I do the same thing. But you
Yeah.
know what I do? And you know what I think, you need to try and do too is you can't start your day like that because that's almost like starting your day with a slap in the face.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know what's going on, and I hear you. But I mean, if anything really bad's happening, you're going to get an alert on your phone or something, or
Yeah.
someone's going to hit you up. So just kind of think
Yeah.
of it like that, because I'm with you. Like especially with like 2 days ago, we were all at work trying to make sure things were going to get crazy, right? There was
Yeah.
so much uncertainty with what was going on for anybody, everybody, and dude, I think that's what it is, and I'm sure the people of Mexico watch the TV all the time down there. It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
But like you said,
Yeah.
since you were being a tourist and you were kind of just you were focusing more on your quality time and less
Exactly.
on the silly bullshit which we
Yeah.
fall into all the time with our TVs.
Yeah. And that's exactly why I decided to do this trip to Mexico, because I realized it wasn't really like oh, I'm gonna vacation, I'm gonna be on the fucking beach 24/7. It was more like I can just go, not worry about the things that give me stress.
Right.
And it was just like a great mental reset, dude. Cause yeah, I did not see the news. Like I didn't know shit about the Nashville bombings. I still don't know shit because
Oh,
I'm not gonna,
you know what, dude? Neither did I. Oh wait, no,
yeah.
I did hear about it. I heard about it. Yeah, yeah.
I
No, I
didn't
heard
hear about
about
it
it.
until like 2 days later. And I was here in the
Yeah.
States, but I didn't hear about it until like 2 or 3 days later. Same thing with like um well, MF
Yeah,
Doom,
MF
as soon as he
Doom.
passed away, everybody knew. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh shit. I mean, I really don't. I knew who he was,
Right.
but it's not like I
You didn't
can
really hell
tell you
listen
a
to him.
song or what he sounds like or anything. I wouldn't
Right.
know. Um, but yeah, it's crazy, and I think you nailed it. Is when we go out on vacation, especially places like out of state or out of the country, you're not really focused on you're focused on your time, but how to live it up to the max. You know, the
Right.
quality of the time being spent. Because I think, like, even when I went to Colorado in October, like, I was still like watching the local news in the morning because that's my routine here in the United States.
Hmm.
And then when in Mexico, I'll wake up and put on I think one morning and I stayed in bed watching Speed dubbed in Spanish. You know,
That sounds amazing.
I've seen the movie millions of times. And I've seen it dubbed in Spanish million times
I got
also, but there I am still seeing it.
I got to see the scene where Dennis Hopper gets his head ripped off in Spanish.
I saw it and he goes, "Sí, pues yo soy
Yeah.
más bello."
He's looking
"Sí,
for his head. Yeah.
yeah, pues estoy más alto." It's like stupid as like,
So the cabeza.
yeah, gata salvaje,
Yeah, because they
gata
asked him, where'd he
salvaje.
go? He's looking
Yeah.
for his head.
Yeah.
Because he got hit with the exit sign or whatever, hit his head off,
Yeah,
right?
I think the catchphrase is like "perdió la cabeza,"
Yeah.
you know. But like when he realizes that Sandra Bullock's character Annie has like the Wildcats or the Arizona sweater, he goes, "Gato salvaje, fuiste a la Universidad de Arizona,
It sounds so
nos
much better in Spanish.
nos está mirando," and it's just like, and like, no,
But
it's
in
not his
English, it's
voice,
not even really cool. Yeah,
or
and he's
like,
like an
yeah.
Antonio Banderas Spanish actor and shit.
Like he's oh dude, like the whole scene where like Jack is under the bus. I mean, if you haven't seen Speed,
Oh, fuck
you're
that.
fucking
Go
missing
for
out.
it.
You're
There's
missing
no
out.
spoilers.
Don't watch
I
number
already,
two.
I already
Don't watch
gave,
number two.
I gave a
Don't
huge
watch
spoiler away anyway already.
Oh yeah. Oh, he died. Oh.
Yeah,
um, but when he's strapped under the bus,
yeah.
dude, we gotta do an episode one of these days, or we just call the bullshit on that movie because there's so many like
Oh, yeah,
bullshit.
that's easy though.
That's like
Yeah, we could spend like, yeah, that'd be fun though
yeah.
to actually
That's
crunch like how you would blow up a bomb in LA. So
what I never understood.
I've researched
dude.
this. If you're gonna do this on a bus, you wouldn't do this route. You go this one because this route cuts off. It'd be hilarious. We hella like overanalyze it and just make it boring as fuck. But it would be funny though, because we'd just be
Great
roasting
about
it the whole time.
dude. Like, I hate the scene that they're on that. Like, first off, I've never, and I'm talking about never in my 36 years, I've never seen a freeway in LA
Oh, that empty?
completely empty because it's closed because they're building it.
Yeah,
I've never
good point.
seen it.
Even if there's a bus with a bomb on it, good luck evacuating everyone.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only
There'd
the
still
only
be
thing-
people honking behind that bus. That's the funny thing.
The only thing that was somewhat believable was the bus doing circles in LAX or
I
maybe
forgot
Burbank.
about. Oh yeah, because it was just doing circles to not lose speed. But I'm like, dude, that thing would only be going like 10, 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, because they had like a flat tire for like the
Yeah,
last hour.
There's no way.
The
Like, how much
rims, no.
gas did that thing have too?
Well, remember, because that's okay. That's what brings me to
That was
this
before
part.
clean air vehicles.
I hate the part when they're like in the freeway and they're doing like 55 miles per hour, and like the lieutenant or the captain's going, "All right, Jack, let's get him out." They're just having like a normal
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
super
Like
loud.
it's not hella windy outside.
Exactly. I'm like,
Yeah.
motherfucker, you're doing like what, 60 miles? Have you ever tried talking like even like 10 miles
Or just
per hour
opening
or
your
20?
window. Yeah.
Like, no way they can have that conversation. That was just like,
Dude, going like 25, it's pretty loud.
you're not gonna have that conversation.
60 miles an hour, you'd be screaming. And then, dude, throwing someone from a car. Yeah, dude, that's make that jump. Like,
Yeah, come
how
on,
many,
bro.
dude,
But,
and like, not like all those parkour people, you know, like it would be like old people,
yeah, no,
paraplegics.
dude, it's just that movie, I mean, it's
It's a
fantastic.
good movie though. Yeah,
I
it's a fun action
cannot
movie.
emphasize how fucking amazing Speed is. But come on, let's be real. We choose to oversee the bullshit on that.
Well, it's a fucking. I mean, it's like calling out like I don't know, skyscraper or a fucking rampage. It's kind of rough to fact check a movie that's clearly. I mean, Speed is a little more realistic than Rampage, but I don't know. I haven't been everywhere in the world.
Fine, freaking fact check, freaking Pacific Rim or something.
Oh
Like,
God, that would be great.
um,
No, these are like Gundams, and they were I don't know.
yeah,
What do
no,
they call
dude.
them? Jaegers?
Sorry, isn't that the Kraken that you're referring to? They came out, but like,
Pretty much.
but dude, just Speed is such a great movie. But that's the problem with us, like, or with me. Like, I see this movie and then I start going like,
Wait, but you can't ever suspend your belief when you watch when you watch a movie. Do you ever get into it and you can get into the movie, or are you always analyzing it?
it's a little bit of both. I keep the like, and I analyze it, but I keep it to myself.
But if it's a good movie that you like, you're not always analyzing it, right?
I'm not, but
Yeah.
like, I think like Juan, my brother, like we'll be watching Speed and they do like the fucking jump on the gap.
Oh God.
They do it.
No,
And I
dude,
think I'll
that is bad though. That jump, it's a
and
kicker ramp that's got to be what 2 feet off this freeway, and it makes it look like it's flying off like first of all, it looks like it's guiding it through it too. It's like there's no way that thing would have fell straight down.
Yeah, and how they pick up like the back, like
they all would have died.
Yeah, no. So we see this, and I think we turn like Juan and I turn to each other, and we're like, that's bullshit, right? Like, and that's like the only thing we say, like, it's bullshit, right? And like, I don't know, dog. I mean, they did it.
Yeah,
like,
dude, that's what I would have said. I would have been like, nah, it's real.
I don't know, bro. They were going. Look, it's the Speed, dog. The Speed helped them.
Like I didn't see Jesus. I didn't see Jesus rise from the grave either. But every Easter, here we are.
Yeah, hey, it's said in the Bible. It has to be real.
It's true.
Wrote it.
Somebody wrote it.
It has to be real. No, but that's how I am. Like, same thing with like bringing it back to Karate Kid, like especially like part 1 with like every scene that Daniel LaRusso's getting his ass beat. I'm like, he had it coming, right?
Oh,
like,
dude,
Daniel LaRusso was just a bitch.
He was, and no, he was, dude, and like, and that's kind of why I was happy about this coming out because I've seen it's been about 10 years probably since I've seen the Karate Kid movies. And I watched the original trilogy.
Oh, I love it.
I think 2 was one of my favorites, and
yeah,
my frustration with it was that they basically didn't even acknowledge the second film.
They haven't yet.
Barely. They basically said you were gone for a summer, but they didn't acknowledge his love interest, which was the Asian chick.
Yeah,
she just went away. The third movie's back in the States, whatever. I was just so taken back because I was like, you didn't even bridge from the second to the third, or they just said, screw it, we're doing this, which I think they did. But I was kind of digging. Maybe it's because I got the Asian. I'm part of the Asian persuasion, but not. I dig the Asian persuasion, but
yeah,
I was I kind of wanted him to end up with Asian chick.
But you know what, Coop? I feel like I'm having deja vu because I feel like we had this conversation.
I think we did, and you probably corrected me then too.
No. I was gonna say, well, the hottest chick from all the 3 of the girlfriends, like from the 3 love interests of Dan LaRusso, it has to be the Japanese girl.
Yeah,
number
dude,
1,
hands down.
And then Elizabeth Shue, because Elizabeth Shue is just freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, I agree with that. She's pretty hot.
And then the girl, third one, she was like some 80s. I forgot her name, but she also was in this movie called Teen Witch.
I kind of think. Oh no, yeah, that was Hilary Swank. I kind of think.
No, Hilary Swank was part 4.
Oh yeah, part 4, the next Karate Kid.
Which unfortunately I saw it.
Wait,
like a month ago.
So I saw it when I was younger, and I didn't think it was terrible. How does it hold up though?
Don't do it.
Because honestly, the third one wasn't the third Karate Kid pretty bad.
The third one was pretty bad.
Yeah,
but
so
the
I mean,
fourth one just takes the fucking cake.
It was even worse than the third, or are you just saying that because it wasn't Daniel LaRusso though?
No, it's just like the acting and just like the bad guy. It's just
yeah. From what I remember, it was kind of. Is it supposed to take place before Daniel LaRusso too? Supposedly.
No, this is like after.
It is after.
Yeah.
Well, it does say the next Karate Kid. So
yeah.
Duh. Never mind.
But it's just it's horrible. And the only reason I saw it because my niece saw something about karate and she wanted to see it. So we're like, all right. And then she fell asleep like 10 minutes into it.
Of
And by that
course.
time, I'm like, well, I'm already committed halfway into it. Might as well finish it off.
Cobra
Um,
Kai, dude. I know I need to
yeah,
start
Cobra.
watching it.
It's good, dude.
I'm
But
digging.
yeah,
I'm kind of digging it though, because I like, obviously we've always had an efficient like a fixation with the bad boys.
oh, absolutely.
So like
Because we
Cobra
wish we
Kai,
were bad
obviously
boys.
the bad boys they were the bad boy dojo of the Karate Kid series, man.
Yeah, and the
You
whole
sweep the
Simi
leg.
Valley, Central Valley, whatever it's called down there.
Yes, it's just pretty much the valley, I think.
The Valley, there you go. Yeah, you're right.
But like, dude, that's I was super happy about that too because I'm all see that's the kind of shit I like. And CBS All Access is actually I read a thing. I know they're doing The Stand, which I think I've talked about it before and I'm fucking digging it. It's so cool. But I read a thing that said Stephen King has got over 10 projects in the work for TV and film this year.
Really, Stephen
Mm-hmm.
King?
Yeah.
Can we stop giving that man money? Like, how much? Well, I
I'm
think
okay
Family
with it.
Guy.
I say I'd rather pay him than anyone else. I'm like,
I,
dude,
I was gonna say, I think Family Guy made fun of him too. Like, he,
he's still writing new books. He's
yeah, and
71 years old.
I think that's,
73, my bad.
I think that's what exactly happened. I think like he's like having a meeting with his publisher, and they're like, "All right, Steven, what's this new movie?" And you can just tell him like he's making it up right on the spot. It's like, "Oh, it's this lamp and this evil, ooh, and it's possessed." And the publisher goes, "When can you write it?" Like,
Dude, but you know what though? I don't feel like he writes the same story over and over again. And
uh-huh.
and he's got well, first of all, they've been adapting his stories to screen since fucking
Oh
the
yes,
70s.
70s, yeah.
But like he's it's not necessarily new stories because like I said they're doing The Stand right now and they've been trying to do it for over 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be a movie and they actually were in production with Ben Affleck and McConaughey and all this shit and then
Mm-hmm.
CBS was like we're just going to take it and we're going to do it, which is awesome. I'm glad they did because even better than a film, this is done on a paid network site. So there's no restrictions, they can cuss, the violence. It's when you're dealing with horror, that's graphic because not all horror is graphic.
Yeah.
When you're dealing with horror that's graphic and descriptive, it can't be on TV.
No,
It's just going to be this butchered, abridged version that's just not what it's intended to be.
I think movies on TV should not happen.
Yeah, or they need to do
Like,
like what they do with IFC and like bleep it. I'm okay with covering. I don't like it,
okay,
but I'm okay with them because I can just go watch the movie if I really want to watch it. But if they're playing it on TV and all they do is just mute the cuss word, I'm okay with that. If it's on TV, like it's playing on TV, not if it's on demand, obviously. If it's playing on TV, that's fine. Also, I don't like editing for time. That's more what I don't like. When they straight up edit for commercials and
I don't like it edit for time. I don't like when they throw commercials in the middle of the movie.
dude,
It's
some of
just
them are
insane.
bad too. They'll like interrupt a fucking scene
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, come on.
yeah. You lost the climax of it.
Yeah.
But I'd rather hear a beep or like a mute.
Yeah.
Rather than them changing the freaking
Oh, dude,
the
nothing's
word.
worse than when like on the radio with Snoop Dogg songs and shit. It's like, no.
Yeah. I think who was it? I want to say I was saying oh wow, I can't believe Pulp Fiction. And and Samuel Jackson is
Yeah.
dropping motherfuckers like every other
What were they saying instead?
motherfucker. It's like, who's this mother flower? Or
Yeah,
like
it's
kind of
just-
who's this
Just
mother? And
just-
I'm like,
just
oh,
mute
bro,
it, you know?
change. I'm like, as soon as that happened, like,
Oh
bro,
yeah, no, you can't because especially with Tarantino, he is so dialogue heavy too. Like
yeah.
that's taking his art and just erasing it.
Yeah, if
This
it was
doesn't
just say,
work.
who's this mother? And,
That's
and
better.
like,
At least you should
yeah,
kind of
like you're like, oh,
okay.
like I can. It's more believable.
Well, it's like watching Chappelle Show. Like when you watch Chappelle Show when it was on TV and you'd hear the bleeps, they were funnier than hearing the actual cuss words.
Yeah. Oh, what's his name? Jimmy Kimmel does a great skit. The
Oh, where
unnecessary
it's not real
censorship.
cuss words. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the unnecessary censorship. It's just
Oh, it's
hilarious
great.
because it's great because you know why, Coop? Because it's all in your head and you
Yeah, they're
interpret
putting
and
the thoughts in your head.
yeah, and so it can go as wild as your mind wants to make it go wild.
We also grew up with that. I don't think the kids nowadays have anything's bleeped anymore. It's kind of a thing
I
of the
don't think you're right.
past.
Yeah,
Because now they just completely censor it,
yeah,
or it's not censored.
yeah.
Because now, well, and that's the thing I like now is, sadly, is our information stream is so heavily censored, but our entertainment is less. So I'm
Hmm.
happy about that. I kind of wish we'd have less of a.
Well, if you think about it, like I don't think any. I mean, I deal with teenagers a lot, but I don't think like teenagers and under don't sit down and watch TV. Like, oh, they're streaming everything or watching everything on YouTube.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like they're not cable doing it, but they're streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So of course they'll know about like censorship, or they don't
that's
hear
true.
like an F bomb here, or
It's kind of a.
like that was fantastic.
That's what I mean. Like they're missing out.
Yeah, back in our days, god damn it.
See,
Long story short, though, going back to original, Mexico was great, and
Viva la Mexico.
yeah, and I'm planning to go back again in June, so I'm
I'm
excited
glad
for
you
that.
did it, dude. And for all those people that want to talk shit, they can suck it because you know
Oh
what? What were you gonna say?
no, and that's what I wanted. I think you
Yeah,
nailed it when you
go for
said
it.
that we're so worried about what people think. And I think that's the biggest that was what the biggest fear of me actually going. It was
You
like,
were,
dude,
yeah.
I'm gonna go and these people are gonna have like a stigma, you know. And I cannot control what people think or
You mean when you
say.
come
That's
back, or you mean when you're over there? Just because
when I'm over there, they're gonna
because
be
you're
like, oh, look at
American.
that guy. Like he had, like, oh, look at him like being irresponsible or,
But see, but that's the funny thing because that's such paranoia and insecurity because no one's even gonna know you're a tourist
that's true. But I'm
unless you
referring
wear
to
a
the people
hat
here
that
in the States.
says,
I'm American.
"Yeah, I'm a tourist," or you're wearing like a
America.
Trump hat.
Yeah, or like I
How
freaking
many
put
Mexican? Oh, I got a funny weird question. Then we could go on to the subject. How many
yeah.
fucking how many legit? Because I know they exist. How many legit Trump supporters are down in Mexico? Like they would rock a hat and shit.
Oh,
There's gotta be some. I know there is. There's gotta be some straight up like I don't speak English. I vote for
I
Trump shit, dude. Or I'm
in
down with
my
Trump.
town, in my town, maybe because my town is very conservative town.
Yeah.
So like when it comes to like rights for the LGBTQ community, I'm pretty sure like someone would be like, oh yeah, let's not give those faggots some. I don't want to, this is not
Yeah,
my
yeah.
opinions, but yeah, oh,
You're
we're gonna like
paraphrasing.
we're gonna let them,
Yeah,
get
yeah.
married. Oh, how is two men gonna be married? I'm like, I can see
I like
them
how
like
your Mexican people that are ignorant sound like Americans.
because they basically are like that's the ongoing joke I say with my family. I'm like, yeah, like here in the United States, like here in California, we're like the progressive ones, but
Yeah.
like my family back in Mexico, they're like the Hicks. They're the Hicks from this. Oh, you don't take kindly to your people down here. I'm like, oh, we got a foreigner here. You ain't gonna go to church?
See,
Oh,
so
you ain't going to
dude, so when
church?
I go there, well, if I go there, I'm not definitely not going without you guys because that's straight up like Sinaloa and shit. But you know
Yeah,
what's fun about Sinaloa is you just go across the water and there's Cabo.
that's true. That's
It
true.
is pretty far. I don't think it's that easy of a trip. I think it's
I think
kind of
it's like a
far
two
though,
or
huh?
3 day. Is it probably like a day or two
Is
on
it
the
that?
boat?
No,
I think so.
Baja from the coast. Is it really that far?
Maybe,
A day on a boat?
maybe,
Maybe a
not maybe
couple
not.
hours, right?
Yeah, yeah.
A few
I'll say
hours,
like
maybe.
4 hours.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm like a
that's more
day, dude.
reasonable.
That's kind of far, Danny.
Yeah. No, I'm tripping. No, you're right.
maybe
You're right.
maybe a rowboat.
You get the
Fucking
freaking
alien Gonzalez raft.
yeah.
By the way, Steph
No.
didn't know who that was. Do you still remember who that kid is? The
Yeah.
Cuban kid?
He was like huge in the early 2000s,
Yeah,
and
because
they
he was on. I don't know. I don't even remember. But the whole thing was that he floated over here, right? Or
yeah
he
he
was
came
on a
over here,
raft.
and his family back in Cuba wanted him, and his family here's like, no, you keep him, and like the
Oh,
military
that's right.
had
And
to,
they're fighting over him.
yeah, and the military had to go and take the kid away. I don't know. We
That
don't
was
talk about
before we were
Cubans that much.
trading with Cuba, so they sent him back.
Yeah, and now we stopped also. Remember, everybody was so excited that we were gonna start relationships with Cuba, and then they stopped.
Well, I don't know. I think the main thing was I don't think it was that we were gonna have relationships. It was that the trade was open with them
Yeah.
because that's why they were so fucked for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But they were also like under a freaking communist fucking dictators.
Regime.
So I don't
Yeah.
know.
But the Castros, I think all the Castros are done.
Well, that's
So,
good.
but
Didn't
yeah,
help.
dude,
Didn't help those people out.
I think that was my biggest like fear was going and just like the stigma and like people thinking that I was gonna be irresponsible and stuff like that. But you know what? At the end of the day, people are gonna think their own opinion, and this kind of ties with what we're gonna talk about in a bit. You cannot focus, and this is something I learned also with my road to recovery, is I cannot focus so much on what other people think because I have no control. I cannot focus or worry about things I do not have control over.
Right.
I cannot, this is why our society has such a problem because we feel so um we we feel like our brain of process and what we believe is the only right way. And if you is it's either like you're either with me or against me.
Yeah.
And
100%.
it's all or nothing. There's no room for compromising. And I think that's where like I know um like by going to Mexico, I'm like, oh man, it wasn't even like, oh, I might catch COVID or anything. No, it's like, fuck, people are gonna talk shit, or people are gonna like be like, oh, this guy was irresponsible, or look at
Hmm.
this guy, like what the fuck, like no wonder we're still in lockdown.
I mean, you did a
But
test when you came back too, though, right?
yeah, actually, I just got tested today,
So I
Thursday,
mean, you're not being irresponsible. But I know
and
what
I
you mean.
want,
I know what you mean.
yeah, and I wanted to. I mean, it was not like I was without fucking mask out there.
Hmm.
Like I was with a mask and like again, I wasn't in the major city. I was in secluded areas, but like I waited also. I arrived on today's Thursday. I arrived on Saturday. So I waited like 4 days. And the reason for it is because I know if you get tested too early,
Yeah.
like it won't be detected. So I'm like, all right, let me wait a couple days once I arrive. Um and then it gets tested, I'll find out, and then symptoms show up usually like within a week when you have it.
Yeah, like a
So
week or two, they say, or something.
and which is about the same time I'm gonna get my results. In the meantime, I haven't gone out. I've been like inside my
They really
house.
take that long to give you the results? 2
With
weeks?
no, it takes like 2 or 3 days. But I
Okay.
figured by the time I arrived and
Right.
the
Oh,
other two
gotcha.
3 days, it'll been like a week since I came back. So that's when I start feeling the symptoms if I do have it. But I feel good. Like nothing crazy. I know yesterday I was like coughing like crazy when we were having a little powwow.
Yeah.
But like today, I'm like
I mean, you didn't
perfectly
sound sick.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you were feeling, but you didn't sound sick.
No, it was just like a freaking cough, and it's just like,
Yeah.
fuck.
Could just be
Yeah,
dry. Could be anything.
yeah.
I mean, I
Water or
cough every
something.
night, but that's because, yeah.
That's
You
different.
know, yeah, you know, you know.
Yeah, that's different, brother. That's different, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
but
That was like my creepy 70s black soul voice from fucking Jungle Boogie. Give it up now. All right.
no, but um, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was great to see my family I haven't seen like in 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, it was great to visit, like, and to stay humble, like remember where I'm from,
Hmm.
and being like showering with like nothing but cold water. It's always like, oh yeah, I forget that we have heaters here at the
So
that we're
there's
blessed
still,
with
you
heaters.
got cold water showers down there? Oof.
Yeah, because my
Nice.
grandma, she doesn't want to put no, she has a heater,
Yeah.
but she doesn't want to buy like the gas tank
No, I
because it's
got you,
not
but
like, yeah, it's
that's
all this like,
that's a good way to wake you up.
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Um, so it's like those little small things like that you like, oh yeah, I'm freaking blessed.
Yeah.
Like I'm lucky to have these kind of it just keeps you grounded and it keeps you humble from becoming. And you know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, and so it was awesome.
I
So
like hearing that. I like hearing that you went and you got what you were looking for, and you spent some quality time. Quality time is, I don't know if there's, me and Steph talk about this all the time because there's
hmm
some people that don't value it, and
hmm
that always comes back to haunt you later in your life.
yeah.
But quality time is like the single most important thing in your life because one, it's creating this like obvious positive aura around your mind, and you're like, it's freeing, it's therapeutic, right? You're happy, you're creating memories with people, you're engaging. It's love, right? I mean, those are things that make you feel better. Those are things that, help you stay healthy mentally and physically. And then those are things you take with you when you get older.
Yeah.
And these are things that your younger generation will remember as well. I mean, it's all super important to keep tradition and family going because especially during times like these where we have so much uncertainty and depression looming left and right. And it's just no way for any one person to always immerse themselves in. So you got to call a timeout every once in a while.
Yeah.
And say, look, I'm going to take some time off. I mean, I did the same thing. I didn't go to Mexico, but I took a week off of work.
That's right.
I really got to spend a lot of time with my kids because both my boys were out of daycare that week. So it was a vacation, and it was also not leaving Steph home alone with the boys all week.
Yeah.
So I thought, this would be good bonding time. And it was a great week. We had a great week together. It was like, it wasn't all leisure, it's like taking care of kids. It's not hard, but there's moments where you're like, this isn't quite a vacation.
Your patience gets tested.
Oh, dude. And well, that's the main reason why we came up with a subject today, which is, maintaining composure and disciplining your composure, conscious discipline. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, I'm constantly, I don't really like doing New Year's resolutions, but I came up with a goal that I wanted to work on for myself this year. And the goal this year was maintaining my composure because the mantra I read online that was like, I don't remember it exactly, but it was basically along the lines of, maintaining your composure is like almost the single most hardest thing, but most invaluable thing to do as an adult because, like we learned about it when we kind of looked it up a little without knowing exactly, our examples. Some points are pretty true. One thing I really liked about this thing I read about the conscious discipline is no one can make you mad without your permission.
Yeah.
And I like that because, we read these things, and, the high school kids of us were like, shut up, stupid. And like, we don't want to hear your pamphlet bullshit. But, as you get older and you start understanding things a little more deeper and you're not quite as much of a prick, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, there's some value. There's some weight to these words. And when you break it down, it's basically saying like what we were saying earlier is we can't control what people say. But we can't control how we internalize what they say and how we deal with what they say. And that's conscious discipline is, when we were younger and sometimes our society thinks the louder person is the dominant person. And as you get older, you learn that's not true at all. The more dominant, the more mature person can actually keep their mouth shut longer and are able to listen better. And the person that's always talking over everyone else, not giving a shit, clearly is the one that has the insecurities, even though they're coming off as arrogant. Arrogance isn't always confidence. And I think people mix those two up a lot. So, and you don't want to, no one likes confidence is great. Arrogance is absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Because arrogance can blind your judgment, alienate yourself. There's all kinds of things. But, that was kind of the good example with composure, but the main goal for me with composure, that was kind of the gist of it, but the main goal for me is like to be a better husband and to be a better dad because, there's moments where I would lose my cool with my kids and that's fine, dude. Everyone has it. Everyone does it. It's fine, but learning how to work around it or deal with it while it's happening is the main thing, right? So, that's, it's tough because sometimes, the pride in me as a dad, I want to be like, I can handle this. Like, I got this. But there's moments where I literally got to be like, look, I got to tag out, and have Steph tag in. And like 2 days ago, she kind of came up to me and she's like, do you want me to help you out? And I was having a rough time with my older son. And He's just being super defiant because he's 3. So, you know, you got to be patient. You got to repeat yourself. You got to explain things. But I was getting overwhelmingly irritated just because he wasn't listening to me. So she came up and she was like, let me just tag in. And I told her respectfully, not mad. I was like, look, I know where you're coming from and I get it. But my concern is if you're always coming in, you know, because one, he's not happy with me, or two, it's not working. You're always going to be cleanup, dude. You're always going to be cleanup. And like, he's always going to be like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll just wait. Mommy will take care of it. And
Mm-hmm.
like, and she's like, you're right. But at the state you're in right now, it doesn't matter because it's only going to get worse for you and him. And she's right because we were both right. But at the moment, she was right because if your emotions are carrying you, like, you got to fix that, especially with children because
Yeah.
they don't understand and really like the words that come out of their mouth aren't as internalized as the words that come out of our mouths. And
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times they don't even understand the shit they're saying, and we forget that as adults. You know, I do
Mm-hmm.
too. She had to remind me today. She was like, he's 3. I'm like, yeah, I know. But
Yeah.
you hear all
Yeah.
these good things from him, and you believe it. So then when they say the bad things, sometimes you're like, did he mean that too? So it's
Yeah.
just. But it's dude, it's like, it's my second kid, but I'm new to this thing. Like, I've only been a father for 3 years, and yeah, I mean, I don't think it's ever something you're ever completely mastered at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure your parents still have
I'm
talks with each
and I
other about the shit they're doing, you know?
I think my with my niece being around, Olivia, she's 4.
Hmm.
And then the second one coming soon at the end of the month. We see my parents being more patient with Olivia, super patient with Olivia, super encouraging. Like
Oh, right.
they don't snap, and it sometimes pisses me off and it pisses my brother off because my brother would try to discipline Olivia and and my parents would be like, "Hey, you're being too rough on her." Or like you're being too like you're like you like I understand you're trying to discipline, but
Yeah.
you're being you borderline abusive. And I remember once my brother was like, "We never treated like that with us. You will whoop
Right.
our asses, blah blah blah." And I think I can't remember if it was my mom or my dad, but they gave the perfect explanation. Like if this motherfuckers went to grandparenting school or something, but they're like, it's like no. With the problem is we didn't we learned from our mistakes what we did with you guys, and now we're trying to show you guys how not to do those mistakes like we did. And we're trying to make we have our second chance to be better parents now with our grandchildren. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like now they're older, they're more relaxed and they
Yeah.
learn from their mistakes. So I think that's what and you said it, like once you're blinded by your emotions, like it takes your initial reaction will always be the fastest thing that your brain will do, like your reaction and how you do your how you react to certain things. The logical portion of your brain, the brain that makes you
Yeah,
critical
the
think, it
left
gives you logic.
side.
Yeah, that takes a little bit more. The frontal, whatever, I can't
Lobe.
remember the term is. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the
The
scientific term.
Abdullah oblongata. I'm just kidding.
Mama said, um, but that takes a little bit longer to actually respond, where the emotions is right away.
Mhm.
So sometimes this is why we tell people, like, when you're freaking out or
Uh,
you're mad, it's like, dude, just breathe.
it's a
Let
quicker,
your brain,
right?
slow down and let that the rational portion of your brain,
Right.
take
You're. It's not.
over.
It's yeah. It's a little less reactionary.
Yeah, and then you're kind of like, once you kind of cool down and you kind of get a control of your emotions, like then you realize, you kind of step back in your situation. And I think that's kind of what happened with you and Steph in the situation. Like
Yeah.
your emotions were getting best. Steph came in, it's like, hey, let me tag me in, blah blah blah. And then I think once just having a conversation, you kind of also mellow down and you're like, all right, I okay, I see where you're coming from. I see what's going on.
Right.
And you were able, I'm pretty sure after that, like the situation kind of like
It got better, you know. It,
Yeah.
it took him a little bit of time, but he was fine. He came down, and it bugs me, and she knows where I'm coming from because he
Yeah,
does the
and it
same
makes
thing to
sense.
her too.
Yeah.
I just don't see it because I'm home less, but
Mhm.
I just told her it's like hard, you know. It's like I don't want to be, you know, and it won't get to this point if you don't let it. But I just told her I'm like I really don't want to be the authority that he doesn't listen to. I also don't want to be the one that's like, you know, why is it like that? Is it because I'm not home as much? Is it because I don't spend enough alone time with him? So it's like
Mhm.
I need to think about stuff like that because I don't want my kid to have a complex or something because I'm not paying attention. Like
Yeah.
it happens, dude. We
No, it does.
juggle so much shit in our lives, and we get in these routines, even with our family.
Yeah.
And the thing is routines are cool when you're adults because we're okay with it, and we're like we need our space and shit, and that's fine. But kids don't see it like that, and they're very perceptive, and I got to remind myself of that too, because even though when I was mad at my kid 2 days ago and I was being quiet, you know, I was just
Mhm.
sitting there. But I could tell he was like watching me and making sure, you know, I wasn't annoyed. So I'd smile at him every once in a while because I didn't want him to think like I'm still mad at him. I was still mad at
Yeah.
him, but I didn't
Yeah.
want him to carry that throughout his day
Yeah. And
because we need, at the end of the day, just like I tell him, we all need to get over shit,
yeah.
me myself included. But that doesn't mean, once again, to go with composure. I was doing my best because, like we've read, body language and facial expressions can't mask composure.
No.
And I was noticing that with my kid, and that's why I smiled because
Mhm.
I could tell the face I had resting bitch face, dude. I
Yeah.
wasn't happy. So but I don't want to just put off that energy and my vibe to my kid because I don't want him to just be all like that all the time, and I don't want,
Yeah.
you know, even though we, you know, the important thing with that whole thing is just explaining why you're doing what you're doing and not just always telling them like do what I say.
Yeah.
Um, because we didn't get that either. We didn't understand that logic. And
Yeah.
and me and Steph were like, we didn't like it, we didn't appreciate it. So we just need to be communicating with them and say, look, like this is why we tell you to do this. And it's because of this. Or Steph brought up a good point too when he's struggling with listening to me and instead of saying yes and instead he says something else, I just need to be a little more like attentive to why. And
Mhm.
if he says this, then tell him that, and then explain instead of getting so like what I do, which is getting annoyed and then being like, you need to listen. You're not listening to me. If you don't listen to me, you know, like it snowballs into him thinking like, oh, I don't. This is already annoying. Why am I going to even try?
Yeah.
Like maybe that's what he thinks. You know, maybe he's just like, this is already a
Mhm.
situation I don't want to be in. Maybe we'll just go away. I don't know. So it's like being a dad and going through this has helped me kind of force myself to be better because it's not just about me. You know, I got to be good for them too. So that's helped me out a lot this and
Yeah.
this coming year and last year just keeps you in check, dude. Like you got to be, the only way both of us can have good relationships in our lives is if we're in a good mental state ourselves. So,
Absolutely.
I think that's going to help us out. I mean, do you have examples like I'm sure you have great examples of composure with what you do every day or with
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, um, there's always days when, kids are gonna be kids and teenagers are gonna be teenagers. There's just gonna be testing boundaries and see how much they can get away with. And
Mhm.
so of course there's days when they're just pushing boundaries and or trying to see how much they can get away with and just to get a reaction from you sometimes. And the game is not to fall. It's kind of like that smile. Like, yeah, you're irritated. Is I'm really bad in hiding my emotions.
Yeah,
So
it's not easy.
yeah, so I can be irritated, but then it's just like at the same time, it's just like don't let it affect me or something. Like I
Right.
remember last year somebody was like, I don't know who or what class handed out condoms, but they had condoms.
Right.
And then like freshmen, so of course they're gonna be fucking going ape shit with condoms.
Blowing them up.
Yeah, exactly. So one kid opened it
Mhm.
and he threw it at some kid. And of course, they're like, it's a condom. Oh, it's like, oh my god, it's nasty. And then my one kid goes, "Hey, what, Mr. Brancourt, what the fuck? You threw it at me." And I'm like, "Dude, relax. It's like it's just a piece of rubber." I'm like, "Oh, but what if it was used?" I'm like, "Dude, look at him.
Yeah.
You really
He
think he
said,
knows what
look,
to do with that? Come on, man.
look
Let's
at
and
him.
everybody,
You'll
and
give him 20 years. He's still not going to know how to use it.
yeah, and it's funny because the whole class goes, "Oh,
That was a pretty good cap, dude.
yeah." I'm like, "Really? Look at him. Do you really think he knows how to use that thing?" And honestly, if it's used, how much of a creep is it that you're walking around with a used condom, bro?
I love
Like,
that.
I'm
You
like,
gave
come
them
on,
such a
man.
good lesson on critical thinking.
Yeah. And they're like, no, it's still gross. I'm like, yeah, it's gross, but it's a condom. It's
Stop being
clean.
a
I'm like, just
stop being a
just throw it
wuss.
away.
Throw it in the garbage.
Yeah. Oh, you're not even tripping about that, Bancorp? I'm like, "Oh, it's a condom. Oh, I seen plenty.
Yo, I
It's
don't
more
use
like a
them.
yeah, I'm like, I seen plenty. I'm pretty sure you guys this is the first one you guys will ever see. Like, oh,
Uh,
Um this one time some kid also was trying to be a smartass with me. And I think a lot of these kids don't realize like that yeah, you're gonna dish it out, but I grew up in the east side and I'm gonna dish it right back at you. So
yeah.
like don't get surprised. This kid, he got called in the office, whatever. Comes back where it's like 2 or 3 minutes before class is getting almost over. It's the last class. So they're stacking the chairs. They're lining up to get out of the school. And one of the student goes, "Hey, so and so, how come you got called in the office?" And this kid kind of looks at me and he goes, "Oh, they called me in because they said I had a big dick and they wanted to check to see if it was, and they wanted to check it." But he said
It's
super
kind of
loud, like
funny.
looking at me like to
Yeah.
piss me off. So I looked at him like, "So what? They just sent you back right away because they were wrong?" And everybody was like, "Oh!" And the kid just starts laughing. He gets like, "Damn, that was a good one, Mr. B. That was a good one." I'm like, "Yeah, get the hell out of here. Get the fuck out of here."
You already know that kid's gonna be trouble later.
Yeah, and I'm
Maybe
like,
not. Maybe not.
no, but it's like sometimes they do it to get a reaction,
Yeah.
and yeah, I can go like, "What you say?"
So
And but like one lesson I learned at an early age in my career was this teacher tells me was like, "Dude, like don't get mad. Like whatever you do, don't get mad. Don't yell at the kids because they're already getting yelled at home. What's the point of you yelling at them? Just like just breathe in, breathe out." Try to make the best of it. Keep your composure. Just breathe in, breathe out, and don't hold it personal. You know, if one kid was being an asshole the period before, doesn't mean that the next class is going to be that way. And
true.
same thing.
True.
And if a group of students were being assholes yesterday, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be assholes today.
And see
Like
that,
just
that that's a tough thing as a teacher, man, because I got to give it to you for that cuz it's not always that easy. And
it's not.
to just turn your switch back on, like to have to be able to, I think that's extreme composure because you basically have to restart your loop over every fucking period.
Yeah,
You're
every
just like,
hour.
okay, I got to be happy. Got to
Yeah.
start happy and cheery because I can't be calm. I can't be like tired and
Mm-hmm.
slow because that's not fair to those kids. And then all those kids are going to be like, well, fuck it if he doesn't give a shit. So
What the fuck? I'm gonna give a
that's
shit.
hard, dude. That's I got to give it to you for that, dude. That's not
And
easy.
And what's the great thing also? I was always just straight up honest with my students. Like I'll go in and be like, "Hey guys, before we get started, like I'm not feeling good today."
Mhm.
I'm like straight up. They knew I was going through my depression. They knew I was going through therapy. They knew I was going through inside. I'm like, "Listen, guys, I'm not feeling it today. If I step out because I have to puke, like please don't record me or anything. Just know like I'm being sincere. Like don't record me. I can explain anything, but just don't put me up on Facebook or
Dang, yeah.
YouTube or TikTok throwing up, because this is gonna be my anxiety. Also just I'll always be honest. And there was days like I wouldn't tell him nothing, and like the kid who was always like the most dick kid, he'll come
Yeah.
up and be like, "Hey, Mr. B, are you good? You don't look good today." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Nah,
Dang.
I'm kind of feeling it."
Yeah.
All right, well, he's like, "All right, well, just hang in there, Betancourt. Like, we'll do our best." I'm like, "Thanks, bro." And that, like, for me, like, that meant the world.
Mhm.
Like, the kids that were usually like the reason you're getting anxiety and the reason like they're pushing your buttons, they'll come up to you and be like, "Hey man, all right, well I'm gonna look out for you today."
You know what that means though? That means they deal with it already
Yeah,
because
they
it's
know
something they
exactly.
understand and relate to,
Yeah,
which like
absolutely.
that teacher that told you clearly
Yeah,
either that kid himself is dealing with anxiety or his parents, or his
yeah,
siblings. And I mean that's real, man. Everyone is dealing with this shit. Even on
yeah.
even young kids, man. It's you never know.
I had two very proud moments last year in my teaching career, like the highlights. I was going through my lows in my life and even my career, but the two highlights all time was this one time I come in, the same thing. One of my students, like super quiet kid, like kind of weird looking, like the kind of weird kid. He goes, "Hey, Mr. Bancourt, can I step outside? I don't feel good." I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm gonna go for a walk." He was like A+ student. He's not gonna fucking run away or anything.
Right.
I'm like, "Yeah, dude." I'm like, "Whenever you feel comfortable, come back in. By all means." And he kind of went outside and he sat on the benches. About 5 minutes later, the same kid who on the previous day was like, "Hey, you're good, Mr. Bancourt." Like he goes to do like he's like he went to throw away something. And of course, he like peeps his head outside the door, and he goes, "Hey, Betancourt, how come so and so's outside?" I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it." He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna check up on him," and he just freaking left, and I'm like, "Son of a bitch." So rather than me yelling like, "Hey, get your ass back inside," and like I kind of peeped outside, and he kind of sat down and started talking to his kid. I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna let it happen." About 10 minutes later, another one from another group of the same group kind of like pops sticks his head out and goes, "Hey, how come so and so is out there?" And I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it." And he again they didn't fucking listen to me. They go outside and they're just having this conversation. I had no idea what the fuck the conversation was about. I have
Yeah.
no idea what they were talking about. But I remember like after several minutes of letting them kind of talk it out, I'm like, "Hey boys, all right, time to come back in." And they all three of them got up, they shook hands, and they just came back into the classroom. And I never asked like what was going on or anything, but I knew exactly like you said, like these kids were going at it. They saw their classmate tripping, for lack of better words. They went out there and kind of talked it out, and
Oh,
gave
like
that space.
they squash shit? Is that what you're saying?
No, no, no,
Or
they
they were
weren't
helping a
like
kid that was like dealing with something.
exactly.
Yeah.
They're helping the kid dealing with something, and there was just like I don't know what was said. I don't know what they were talking about. All I know is they had this conversation. They were looking out for each other. And for me, that was like the most beautiful, like
Dang, dude, and
organic
and
thing.
like that's the key to life. Like we're so busy rushing and wanting like instant gratification, even with giving people tasks. You want to hear yes, sir. I mean, we're all guilty of that, and it's like sometimes we got to remind ourselves that sometimes you got to let things play out because, like you just said, it wasn't that those kids were fucking around.
Yeah.
There was a bigger meaning behind it, even though they weren't
Mhm.
following the rules. They weren't
Yeah.
following the rules, but
Yeah. They didn't give a shit
um,
what they said.
they
They
didn't
went
give a shit. They
outside.
broke rules. Like old school teachers would have smacked him with a ruler, but
Yeah.
but at the same time, they wouldn't have helped that kid out. That
Yeah.
who knows? Maybe they talked him off a ledge, dude. And and I'm not
Yeah.
joking. Like
No. Yeah. For real.
there's some serious, you know, we don't see all the shit that's going on, and that doesn't mean
Hmm.
that it's not there, and that's the truth too. Is like sometimes people say, "Oh, I never saw so and so. I never thought they were the type of person to do that," and it's like, yeah, well, but you also
Exactly.
probably weren't the type of person to talk to them,
Yeah.
and sometimes you are, and sometimes they hide it, but it's cool, like you said, to have those kids show maturity and
Hmm.
some disclosure to not really tell you what was going on. That's kind of cool
Yeah.
too because I respect that, and I think obviously the way you're telling the story, you did too. Dude, I mean, that's pretty mature of those kids, man. That's kind of cool that
Yeah.
they, without you telling them, because that does almost seem like something. Even though you told them not to leave the classroom, at the
Yeah.
same time, it's like they could have just left and fled and
Hmm.
skipped, and I mean, you know how we did it.
Yeah.
So it's
No, they
just
were
like,
sitting.
yeah,
There were. Other. Hold on.
pooch. But I mean, dude, it's kids. Kids are crazy. Sometimes they'll surprise you, and you never know.
Okay, no, I thought I was hearing like some freaking like crying, and I'm like, am I hearing a fucking baby cry right now? Like, I just brought some evil back from Mexico with me, but that was
Nice.
my dog. She was like having like a dream or something. So she's like whimpering, and I'm like, oh
Uh,
god. Okay. No, but no, 100%. I feel like we underestimate what these kids are going through and how they process things.
yeah.
And I gave them the opportunity, and like they were just a few feet away from the doors, and that's when I realized like these kids are like the most kind-hearted kids, like the
Hmm.
ones like the knuckleheads and whatever. They're the most
Yeah.
kind-hearted,
Sometimes they're
and
the biggest hearts. Yep.
I gave like, dude, what's funny is like those two kids that want to talk to the original student, they haven't turned in a single thing the whole freaking like school year or anything, and I gave them, I passed them all with A's. I
Yeah.
passed them with A's. They didn't turn in a single shit, not even a final, but I passed them with A's. And when my manager asked me for like justification for it, it's like, hey, you're giving this person A, but they didn't turn a single thing. I'm like, well, this is what happened. And I'm all my class, I teach kids how to do social emotional learning and how to empathize with everybody.
That's
I'm
true.
all,
That's actually part of the curriculum, I guess, technically.
yeah. And I'm like, they just show mastery of it. I'm all,
Hmm.
I I'll be dumb. What am I gonna? I'm like, I have to give him a. Like they show mastery, and he's like, oh, okay, and that was that. I'm like, no,
Well, yeah. I mean, because how often do teachers get to ever see their lesson plans get like real life examples with the subjects they taught the lesson plans to? I mean, that's not very often.
yeah. So I'm
That's
like, they
pretty
show
cool.
mastery, and it was cool. So that was like one of my highlights, and then just having like building those relationships and building that trust with students, and it's just like sometimes like the stuff these kids will tell you, like again, you see that they cannot hide their emotions. They're trying to keep it together, to keep like this mask in class time. But as soon as
Yeah.
like they have the opportunity, the mask comes off and the emotions get the best of them. And I mean, shit, there's been many times where I cried with my students, and I'm talking about like 14, 15-year-old like boys,
Yeah.
who are rough from the exterior, but I give them that trust and opportunity for them to just air it out, and you cannot you cannot just like get that emotion also, and there I am crying, grown ass man crying, and no judgment or anything, because they know, I have that trust, and for me, like that's what makes what I teach like so valuable.
Oh
But again,
yeah.
it's extremely hard
Oh
to keep
yeah.
that composure, especially like when you're going through it also. So hard.
But these moments that you got, those are going to be the ones that help keep you in line
Yeah.
because it's going to remind you, okay, no, but this is why I do this. This is
Mhm.
why I put up with this shit because there is a greater good. It's working towards and like you even said too, you're like, I mean, that's gratification. That if you would have went out there and done your job and said, get back inside, all of you, like those kids probably wouldn't have got A's, which means they
Yeah.
would have flunked. So this is a snowball effect. Let's do some weird butterfly effect thing
Yeah,
to
it's
give you some
huge.
credit because those two kids probably would have got F's or lower grades at least, not A's.
Mhm. Yeah.
The kid outside wouldn't have had maybe a moment of closure or enlightenment when someone understands you and is there for
Mhm.
you. I mean, was something in that moment, did you have like a gut instinct saying, you know what, something's telling me I should say something, but I'm gonna let it be? You had something
Yeah.
telling you that, right?
Yeah, what I mean, the student who originally had like a problem, he's always been like a loner, like no
Mm-hmm.
friends, super loner. And you can tell he's getting pressure from like his parents to like be somebody who he doesn't want to be,
Mm-hmm.
So it's that pressure. And so him coming up to me and be like, "Hey, I'm not feeling well, Mr. Bancourt. Can I go outside?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." It was like one of the long periods also. And then the other student was already, obviously he didn't want to focus and do his work. So when he went outside, I'm like by that time I'm like, "All right, yeah, sure." I'm like, I know they had some interaction. And I remember he specifically like the kid, the loner kid, he once did something, and they all kind of cheered on they always kind of backed them up, and I pulled that kid aside. I'm like, hey man, thanks for like including so and so in today's, lesson. He goes, "Oh yeah, dude, he's our boy." Like that was his organic answer. So knowing that he already had like that connection, like yeah, he's not like my buddy, but like I respect him, I care for him. So yeah, you're right. It gave me the confidence, like, all right, I'm gonna let this happen. And then sure, I wasn't like, I waited like a minute or two, kind of just pop my head out, see where they were. They were both together talking, like, all right,
Yeah.
no worries. And then when the third kid joined, same thing. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go check. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, they guess he's walking on my classroom. I'm like, dude, don't. And he just leaves. I'm like, whatever. And like that was my thing. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
They're friends. And same thing. Like 2 or 3 minutes later, kind of pop my head out. They're talking, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna like stop this because something organic was happening there.
Hmm.
And yeah, you're right. For all I know, they helped the first student, feel safe, feel
But
secure.
you helped them, like without sounding like Jerry Maguire, you helped them help themselves, like,
Exactly.
and I applaud your instincts, dude, because that can't be taught. So I'm sure you're already doing it, but I encourage you to, discipline those instincts and keep doing it, because that's something that's going to make you separates a good teacher from an excellent teacher. And I can tell
Yeah.
you got the makings of that, dude. Like you have pride, you have respect,
Yeah.
and you have, like those vatos, dude. You got a big heart, dude.
Yeah.
Like you're not doing this for any other reason than, the reason you should be doing it. And it
Yeah.
shows. And I respect that, dude. That's a hard thing to do.
I mean, Coop, at the end of the day, man, like both of us have big hearts. Like yours, of course, you have like one of the biggest hearts ever. And it's kind of like we know what the other person is going through and we've been through it. So it makes it easier for us to like emphasize on it and
Hmm.
like be more open to it and like kind of take a step back and kind of like realize what's going on. Like,
Right.
dude, like you smiling to your kid, like that, I'm pretty sure is a simple gesture as me letting these kids step out from my classroom. But with
Yeah, in a
that, you show
way.
your kid, you show because as you were saying it, I was thinking like, well, by you like physically or emotionally showing that you're kind of restraining your true emotions, but kind of turning to him and kind of smiling, like, hey, it's whatever. It kind of shows them like, okay, it's okay to be angry at somebody a minute ago, and it's okay to not be angry at that person no more and not hold any
Right.
grudges. And I think that's the most important things that we need to show our children in a young age, like not to hold grudges against their parents.
Yeah, and I apologize to, like, when I do something wrong, I apologize to my kid because I want him to understand when he does something wrong, and when he does, to know how to correct it,
Hmm.
and that's funny. It's just like being a teacher. Like when you're a parent, you do things so they do things. You do those
Yeah,
things so they repeat them, because
yeah,
kids are they love to repeat things.
they're
So
sponges.
the whole reason you act the way you do, or if you're a good teacher, or a guardian, or whatever they're called, just you got to compose yourself in a way that they're going to be like, oh, cool, I want to do that. I want to act like that.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds silly. Like, we always grew up with the whole thing of like, set a good example, be a good example. And we are always like,
Yeah.
whatever, who cares? Whatever. Yeah, I heard you. But when you're
Hmm.
kids, you don't ever really internalize words. You just kind of like hear them. And
Yeah.
then as you grow older, you understand the clout that some of this stuff carries. And then you're like, okay, cool. No, this makes sense.
Hmm.
I need to do this because um, that's how it's going to make my life so much easier later on when I'm older.
There you go.
Like you doing that with those kids is like, telling them, look, there's going to be rules in life. There's going to be things telling you do things this way, but that
Hmm.
doesn't mean it's the right way.
Yeah.
And another thing I've learned is the right way is rarely the easy way as well. So,
No. Yeah.
it's a discipline that young people don't really have, and
Yeah.
even in your 20s, it's kind of not really as common. But like now that we're in our 30s, we've definitely reached that point of our lives where we self-reflect, we internalize, and we understand. I think we kind of have a greater understanding of who we are, I think, than at this point in our lives than, I don't know, maybe I think than our folks even had, because I don't think our parents had the luxury of having this outlet for themselves. I also don't
Yeah.
think our parents were as honest with themselves and each other, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that was still kind of a generation where we didn't really talk about things as much. We did keep things
Yeah.
inside a little bit. And
Yeah.
I think, hopefully that snowballs. We need to make sure that snowballs into a greater good for future generations, and it's not just us handicapping our kids either,
Yeah.
because we don't want to just remove all challenge from their lives either,
Mm-hmm.
So you got to let them fall and scrape their legs and break a tooth, it's all part of
They
life.
they need to have that confidence that if they go and try something new and they do get hurt, that they're gonna, if they need help to pick themselves up, they have somebody to rely on. But that person's not gonna be holding your hand the whole way. Also,
Exactly.
you can like
Teach
it's somebody you
teach them
have
to
in the
fish.
corner. And yeah, I feel like a lot of it, especially with our parents, especially our fathers, I feel like they held it because they come from a generation where you just don't show any emotions.
Hmm.
You don't cry. You man up.
And we see how
Whatever.
that works. Like, it doesn't really.
It doesn't.
Like,
It's
some
just,
of it, but then you're like, it doesn't really.
well, Coop, we're examples of what happens when you man up and you just keep that inside and you don't release it.
Hmm.
Like it builds up into something evil and dark, and essentially it makes its way out.
Sometimes
And
irreversible for some people.
yeah, like I was literally just talking about this to my sophomores yesterday. I'm like, imagine, like, the lesson was rethinking stress. And I'm like, you have to, like, when you're feeling too stressed out and you need to like relax, well, you need to talk to somebody. You need to just air it out. And if you don't have that person you trust to talk to, or feeling judged, I'm gonna write it, journal it, write it down, and it will release it. Because if you just keep it in, it's like a teapot.
Yeah.
Like, once you have it in, and the steam builds up, it's gonna essentially, that steam needs to escape one way or the other. So it's either gonna explode, or it's gonna whistle, or you can keep the lid open and release some of that pressure out.
Right.
It's the heat is still going to be there. The steam is always going to be there. The stress is always going to be there. It's how you release it, and to who.
Right.
That really changes it. And you have to let it out, because essentially, if you keep it in, it's going to build to anxiety. It's going to build to depression. You're going to latch out at somebody you're not supposed to latch out. You're going to hide it, and manning up. This is where people be build drinking problems, because they're
Yeah.
trying to hide it, or where marriages go wrong, because they're lashing out your own personal issues on somebody else, and you don't know how to deal. You don't want to deal with
Yeah,
it, so
you don't
you
want to
rather.
tell them what you're going through. You just
e-
react with what you're dealing with.
exactly. And it's not the other person's responsibility or fault to it's not their job to deal with that. They're there to help you and guide
Mhm.
you and kind of support you, but not to be your fucking punching bag.
Well, and pride gets in the way of a lot. Pride is a
Absolutely.
valuable thing, but even when my example of Steph wanting to tag in, I
Mm-hmm.
brought up a valid point, but at the same time, I was letting my pride get in the way of what I needed to be doing. And that's something I got to work on too, man, because I value my pride, because my pride is what makes me work hard. My pride is what makes me have um is my hustle. My pride is what has me it just, your pride is your respect for yourself that gets you, to do good things for others and to do good things for in life in general, right? And it's like, I never want to get rid of that. I just need to figure out how to hone it, like have it be something that's used for this part, not for this. Like, it shouldn't
Mm-hmm.
just always be something that's controlling how I'm feeling. And I feel like that's a kind of a male thing too. It's not, women have, there's female pride, but this whole, like, it's kind of the machismo thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
our pride can be some ways considered macho, but my pride in this instant wasn't macho. Like I'm the man, you're the woman. My pride was I need to pull my own. I need to hold my own, and I
Mm-hmm.
need to pull my weight. And if I'm constantly relying on you to do that, then I'm not pulling my weight. And I told her
Yeah.
that. And she's like, it's not about that though, because at the end of the day, we pull our weight together, and we're a team. And it's not like you just always push him off on me. Like I came up to you and you're not giving up on him. It's just, we're a team. And if things are rough, that's my job is to step in just like you would too, and it's sometimes you just got to you got to read the situation. It's just like,
Yeah.
okay, look, I'm upset. He's upset. She's not. That seems like the best opportunity to get this situation changed and for us to move forward. And it's like, screw your pride. Like, what's best for this situation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's what I need to think of. And it's like that's part of the whole composure aspect. Um, and it's going to be something that's probably going to come up a lot
Yeah.
more and more because it's something I'm working on a lot this year. And I'm going to be honest, I'm going to I think it's good for me to talk about when I don't do well. So,
You have to.
yeah. And that's why I mentioned I lost my cool and stuff came up. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
happy about it at all. I don't like doing that. Um and it's not because I grew up from an abusive family or anything like that. I don't want to affect my kid in a negative way and have him like when he's 25 be like, yeah, well, I remember when I was this old, and I don't want. I mean, there's always going to be those moments, but if you can make them moments that are teachable at least, and then something that you learn from as well, and it's not always a recurring issue with your kids, I feel like that's a good way for you to teach them how to move forward, but it's also a good way for them to move forward as well because you're having them move forward in the present, but then they're building those skills to know how to move forward on their own with their friends, and if we're always correcting them or telling them what to do rather than letting them try and figure it out, like kind of like what you did with your students,
Yeah.
I feel like we're not doing them any favors, and it was really cool hearing your example because it's very relatable for me as well, just because it's like feels the same, dude. It's like, man, you at the moment you're like, I don't feel like I'm doing the right thing, but then something's telling you you are because you're doing it.
Yeah.
And we're not confident enough with that voice yet, but that's the voice saying do that. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like that's also something I'm working on. I want to get a little more in touch with that voice, so when it comes up, I'm not always I don't question it so much.
Yeah. It becomes like a second nature or
It
something.
becomes something you're
Your
just like,
instinct.
okay, that's my spidey sense. Let's get to work.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's good. I mean, I'm happy we are honest and do all this because that's the only way we can really hold each other accountable and improve on things.
I mean, for anybody listening to this, like, I think that's the first thing I can recommend you if you want a better mental life is just being honest with yourself, acknowledging your mistakes, acknowledging your flaws, and being okay with them.
Mm-hmm.
Being okay with them. Now, I'm not saying go out there and use that excuse. Well, I'm an Aries. I'm supposed to. No, I'm not saying that bullshit.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool. I acknowledge I know where my weakness is. I know where I need to work on. Now I need to build upon that. How can I fix that and be better with it? How can I manage that? How can I manage that flaw
Mm-hmm.
so that way it doesn't become that big of an issue or it's more controllable.
Right.
And I think that's the hardest part on roads on road to mental wellness is just accepting your flaws, and you can accept it but being content with it. I think that's the hard part, like learning how to live with it and being okay with it. I feel like that's the most difficult part of it, and that's where problems will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think the biggest issue with a lot of myself, of course I'm talking about myself, but also with other people who unfortunately not part of my life anymore. I have problems dealing with or accepting with or getting past that. And I think the other thing also, a big issue with it is that we always, for some reason, we always live in this, I used to be so much better back then. Or if I would have never done this, I would have been better. And people always try to go back and be that person again. And the thing is, you cannot be that person no more.
Yeah.
You cannot be that person 3 or 4 years ago.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
you
we're
you
like
can't.
Play-Doh. We've been molded in
Yeah,
4 years
exactly.
past that. Yeah, things have
You can't be
happened.
that because you're not progressing. You're falling back. You're not progressing. You need to learn from your mistakes and grow from it. So yeah, you can't be like, oh, I wish I could, treated my kid better or treated him like when he was one. You can't. You
Hmm.
have to learn from that experience and you have to grow from it. And I think that's a big challenge sometimes because some people rather, myself included, I'd rather live with what's more comfortable than trying out something new and that fear of the unknown and the fear of like not succeeding in the unknown.
Right.
I think that's the biggest like fear of all of us, failure.
Failure, man, and as we get older, I think we learn to embrace that part of our lives. You
It's
know, and
hard, dude. It's hard.
it's tough, and but with any success story or anyone that's successful, what they do, they embrace failure.
Yeah.
And the one thing I've been learning this like calendar year about failure is is an outcome of um, trying or effort, and it's not. And that's the thing; it has such a negative connotation because it means you
Mm-hmm.
lose, but it doesn't mean you lose all the time. Failure in an instance might mean you lose, but failure
Mm-hmm.
across the board does not mean loss. Failure is an outcome of a situation. Failure is an outcome of an experiment. Failure is something that is always going to happen in your life. And
Mm-hmm.
when we realize it's an outcome of something we tried to do that didn't work out, instead of thinking it as a loss, I think that's a little bit better and easier to swallow. It's like it didn't
Yeah.
work this way, but that doesn't mean it's not ever going to work.
Yeah.
Versus I lost, everything sucks.
And that's so difficult for me.
Yeah.
You know, as we're saying it, reflecting, it's so difficult. I can say, "Oh yeah, yeah," but sometimes it's easier said than done.
No, a
And
hundred.
like,
It's way easier said than done. I still battle with it too.
and once you put out, because of course I reflect on 2019 when I was feeling like a complete failure rather than or a complete loss. Rather than feeling like, okay, well, I didn't succeed in this. How can I change that, or how can I succeed the next time? Rather than saying that way, it was just like, no, I failed. I suck. Whatever. I'm a piece
Hmm.
of shit. I'm better
Yeah.
off without, this piece of shit should just leave. And no one will ever realize he's left. And it's hard. It's hard not to get into that and kind of reflect and be like, okay, of course, I'm not saying don't give yourself time to grieve and be sad. You have to write emotions. You have to release those emotions. You can't mask them. But rather than dwelling on them and let it consume you, you have to be like, okay, what happened? If you feel like you did everything, you gave yourself an honest chance and you were completely honest with yourself and you gave the 100%, you cannot be mad for that. You tried literally your best, just learn the mistakes you did,
Right.
grow and on to the next one and keep your head up, but you cannot dwell on it. So
Well,
it's hard. It's really
something
hard,
something
and
that
we
might
are
help.
still talking about it.
I wonder if looking at it through this way might help you out with that. Um, you need to put yourself in the same category as your students, man.
Yeah,
And for yourself is what I'm saying, because and this is me coming to you as a friend that's trying to help you, not as someone that's got it figured out yet. I'm obviously offering this advice from a flawed Like I
Yeah.
clearly have my own shit going on too.
Well, same here, dude.
But
Anytime I give any,
I had some enlightening idea right now for you, and it's just maybe what you could do as well would be to, like, and I'm saying this for myself as well, and like, you know how like you said, if you have a bad period or class, you can't carry that on to your next class.
exactly.
Well, maybe what you need to start doing is looking at your time in your day like class. Like, okay, something fucked up happened at 8:30. I'm going to make a deal with myself that at 9 o'clock, I'm going to try and have a new outlook towards 9 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's something I'm going to do as well because I am the same. Like, I am so critically honest about myself and my failures that I obsess and kind of gloat about it to myself out loud. Even at work, I'm like, oh, I didn't do this right. It was supposed to be this. I fixed it, but fuck, blah, blah, blah. And I'm always noticing kind of my boss is always just like, okay, it's okay. And in my head, I'm like, I'm just being honest and telling you what's going on. But I think in his mind too, he's like, don't be so tough on yourself. And don't, and it's okay to acknowledge failure and things, but to dwell on it. And I think that's what my weakness is too, is I will just spend too much time on it. I need to accept that it happened. I need to understand why it happened, because those are two important things, acceptance and understanding, because those are the only two ways you can hopefully not go back to that same situation again. And I think that's all we can do as the imperfect individuals we are.
Mm-hmm.
You
No, and it's true. You cannot dwell on it. You cannot let it consume you. And it's difficult, dude. It's difficult. But no one said this was going to be easy.
Nope.
Nobody said it was easy.
Fuck, who sings that again? It's in my head, I know.
Coldplay.
There we go. Okay.
Come out to meet you. Tell you I'm sorry.
Fuck you,
Wow,
Chris
that's-
Martin. No, I'm kidding.
Fuck,
I got
such
nothing
a
against Chris Martin.
fucking-
Yellow is probably their best song, though, right? Can we all agree that? Pretty much.
Here's the thing, though, Coop. We're
What?
gonna. I love how we went from a very serious and now.
No, it's good. It's a short segue, but yeah.
Yeah. Here's the thing: what pisses me off about Coldplay.
Yeah.
You want to hate him. You want to turn him to the
Yeah.
fucking Nickelback or like the butt of every joke.
Yeah.
Imagine Dragons of like whatever it is that they do.
That's so funny you say that.
But then you try to, and you have no fucking. You cannot make a case against them.
No, and here's what I'll say. Parachutes, that's the one with yellow on it, right?
Yeah.
And then Clocks. Or XXY.
Yeah, and then there's
Is it XXY? XYZ.
I think it is XY. It's something like that, but
it has clocks on it, and you can't go wrong with those two records.
A Rush to the Head. A Rush to the Head's the one that has the scientist.
Oh yeah.
And then that XYZ whatever with like
XYZ.
clocks and it's just
dude, those are like really good records for them.
Yeah.
And that was before they had their resurgence when they kind of got a little EDM-y.
With like with
something just like this.
Yeah, with Viva La Vida.
Well, that was after Viva La Vida even, but yeah, Viva La Vida was kind of the beginning of their change, but they got very EDM. Well, but they've been a band for 20 plus years, so I get it.
Oh, but they're so
shit. I think they have been a band for over 20 years. I think the first record was like 99 or something.
Yeah, because Yellow had to come out like in 99. I was in high school.
Yeah, it was early.
But
that was an old jam.
Dude.
Good
Hands
band.
down, Yellow's part. Coldplay easily is one of those bands that are like, oh yeah, I'm going to see fucking Coldplay, and next thing you know, like halfway through the show, you're like, oh fuck, I'm a major Coldplay fan.
Yeah.
That's
because even if you like I said fuck Chris Martin. Dude, I was just being a dick, but like even if you don't like Chris Martin, it's like, dude, Coldplay, like they got some hits, dude. Even if you might be like, I don't like that stuff, but it's like, yeah, dude, but they wrote good songs.
And they're so humble about it. Well, at least they come off as humble. Because I know Chris Martin once, for the life of him, he couldn't tune his guitar. And he's trying to have this conversation with like fans, like is like playing the excuse, like
was he using a tuner?
Yeah, he couldn't
and it
like
wasn't
tune
working.
It wasn't working, and he goes, I'm sorry. He's all, you would think by this time in my career I'll know how to fucking tune a guitar. He's like, hold on. and somebody in the audience goes, "Fuck it," it's just he's like, "No, don't fuck it." I was like, "No,
I'm
I'm
not
all,
gonna fuck the guitar.
so I go with them and tell you it's just fuck it, and I'm gonna play the song messed up, and then my career's gonna be over. So we're not gonna fuck it." And
Yeah,
so
and that's pride and respect because it's like he knew that these people. One, he has pride as showman, and then two,
yeah.
he knew those people paid money to see him. And why the fuck would anyone want to see an out of tune version of the song?
Yeah, and so he's just like looked at
Yeah,
his roadie. His roadie brought in new guitars. Like,
yeah,
there you go. He's like, this is why I pay people. He's like, this is why I don't know how to fucking tune. I have people to do it for me.
exactly.
And I'm like, yeah, damn it, Chris Martin, I love you. Why did you name your daughter Apple? But whatever. That's besides the point.
No, no. Why did you name your daughter Apple? Isn't the first question to come to mind. Why did you fuck Gwyneth Paltrow and have a baby with her?
That's true. Which led to a baby called
Jeez.
Apple.
She's not a very likable person, it seems.
I want
I
something.
think he's with her in there anymore.
This.
He's still with Jennifer Lawrence, or is that not happening anymore?
I don't even know.
See,
Mika.
here one day, gone the next. Anyway, I think that was a cool. This kind of was getting our feet back in. We took a week off. We weren't rusty. We just needed some rest.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week. We did change our day up, which really isn't going to affect anyone listening to this or watching because Monday is still going to be our release
still gonna
day.
come on Monday. Yeah.
But we got some changes happening, and we'll announce things when they're ready. But 2021's already for us is looking really good, and I think we need to put that energy out for everyone else. So
absolutely,
let's focus on the good. Let's limit the noise we got going on right now. I'm not saying don't watch things, but be selective of what time of day you do it. No one wants to start their morning off with the shit sandwich.
The news, yeah.
Let's, I get it though. We're adults. I understand where you're coming from. You want to know what's going on. I want to know.
Shit. I'm sorry.
I get
Forgive me if I want to know how cold it is outside. If I happen to want to go outside.
Yeah, but you could just look at the weather app on your phone, and that takes 2 seconds.
Sorry, I want to see.
I want a 7-day forecast.
Yeah. Sorry, I want to see how the Dunbar traffic is, even though I'm
it
not
doesn't
going to be
affect you
driving
at all
anytime soon. Yeah, exactly.
I want to know what the Carquinez Bridge looks like right now. Show me live footage, damn it.
I want to see the Golden Gate Bridge covered in fog. I'm not going to drive it, but I just want to see it so I can be like, oh, fog is horrible today.
Yeah, and it's like that's what you get. You pay $7 and you can't even see what you're. Can you imagine paying $7 as a tourist and then having all that fog there and you can't see shit on the Golden Gate Bridge?
But you know what, dude? It's like we know because we're from the Bay, so we know.
You imagine though, you got one day and you're only there for 4 hours and it's just heavy fog in San Francisco. You can't see shit.
And you couldn't even you're off on the side and the bridge is there, but you cannot see it because it's like
it might as well be. Yeah,
it's fucking like
there's no glory
to a time warp.
Well, dude, you've seen it. We live here. Like sunsets, or just the panoramic view of that area.
Yeah,
it can't be super heavy fog for you to take it all in.
Yeah,
you got to see a little fog's cool. And don't get me wrong, I like when it's creeping in, but like I don't like when it's just dense. And then because then you can't like. It doesn't matter now because we've seen it a million times. But if you were first coming here and this was like one of your fucking stops, dude, that would suck.
Dude,
I'd be like, thanks, Bay.
No, so I remember this one time, I was dating this girl, and I'm like, let's go to San Francisco. So we went to this you pass the bridge, and there's like an outlook place. There's like a bathroom or anything. And I'm like, oh, this has the best view of the city. It was fucking foggy. You couldn't see like.
Oh, I know where you were. You were at Fort Mason. That's where we were at.
Yeah, is it?
You weren't in the SF area. You were across the bridge.
Yeah,
and there's like an area. There's like tunnel. A fat parking lot.
Yeah,
right by the water. Yeah.
Exactly.
I know what you're talking about.
And I couldn't see shit. I couldn't see like a foot or two beyond my nose. So I'm like, whatever. Whatever. A couple years later, I'm dating my ex-girlfriend, and it's the first time she comes. It was not the first time, but we're hanging out, and we're like, hey, it's super cold in San Francisco because it's like foggy, and let me show you how fucking foggy the Golden Gate gets. Fucking clearest night ever. And then like a year later, I'm like, hey, let's go see. Oh, it's foggy here in San Jose. It has to be foggy in the Golden Gate. Fucking clearest day ever. And I'm like, dude, it gets foggy here. I know it. But like,
Not as often as it's been, I think.
no, I guess not. But yeah, that would be a shit show. And it's crazy because like one side of the bridge will be like -3 degrees. And
Yeah.
then like you cross the bridge and it's like 80 degrees. It's super, it's like a 1 mile stretch. And it goes from like, it's a fucking, when that fog comes in, it's amazing. But
Yeah.
it's such
It's
a
a nice
freaking mind
bridge,
fuck.
man. It's cool.
It's a good bridge right here, brother. I'm gonna do that next time I go. I'm gonna smack him and be like, good bridge here, brother.
Yeah, and slap
Good
it and
bridge.
put a little spit on it.
Yep. Good old American made, motherfucker.
Like a horse and you smack its ass. Oh, yeah.
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 Look at that fucking bridge, boy.
That's so fucking funny.
Do that with your kid. Do that with your son, dude. Like, you see this boy, they don't build like they used to. Look at
God
this
damn
fucking
bridge.
goddamn.
And then a bolt falls off. I'm like, let's go.
Look at this.
Let's
Look at
get
this
the fuck out of
beautiful
here.
piece of shit. I love this.
Goddamn American. Look at this architecture.
Whew. Your grandpappy built
You know,
this.
they don't make them like this no more.
Mm-mm.
Back in my
No.
day, they didn't have these little fences for these degenerates that don't know how to jump off a bridge properly.
If you want to die, you died.
Now my guy is like a fucking southern. He went from fucking Texan to Colonel Sanders real quick.
My southern accent is all over the place. I'm sorry. I
Remember
just don't
the
wanna get
Alamo,
hate.
dude?
I've been to Alamo, but I already told you that before. I've
Yeah,
been
but
to
you weren't wearing a blue evening gown and you didn't pee on it, so.
Alamo. I should have.
Bucket
We did it.
list.
I know. I'm gonna go back. Take a picture where like Ozzy took a picture.
I'll wear like
just
an
be
Aussie shirt with my with my evening gown.
Yeah. Be right next to him and just be like,
Yeah.
this is where he peed.
Right there. I can
Dad,
still
where you
smell it.
You're so weird, Dad. Like you
Yeah.
his royal darkness piss there.
Dude, yeah, it's the Prince of Darkness's piss right there. Have some respect.
Have some respect, god damn it. I'm gonna take you to freaking I'm gonna have you watch some freaking mayhem now.
That's
Tell
right.
Satan for once in your life, god damn it.
That's what I mean. They need to be exposed to the corpse paint.
Yeah.
These kids
At
don't
an
get
early
it.
age.
They need fear in their lives.
Yeah. You don't understand. Yes, we know it looks cheesy, but that's the point.
That's the point.
You're supposed to look kind of cheesy. But yeah, dude, long story short, I'm excited for this new project we got working out, and hopefully we get to announce it pretty soon.
I think we will,
And,
hopefully.
and if we don't, at least we are gonna learn. We're gonna accept the failure like champs because we're gonna give it our 100%.
I think you're right. And I think between what we got going on here and what we're planning on doing, I think we got some gold coming our way.
One can only hope.
Listening gold to you coming to your way, actually, to the listeners. Things are going to be changing this year. Just a quick rundown. Things are scary. Things are uncertain. But every year's like that.
Mhm.
So take all the shit you got from last year, put it in a little cubby, and just file it away. Because although it's something you can use as an example of what happens and can happen, we need to move forward. And that goes for myself, included. And that's I think the healthy perspective I'm going to take with me moving forward into tomorrow, and into this year. I know realistically we're going to have challenges this year, as every year.
Yeah.
But we need to understand that that's going to happen with COVID, without COVID, with social unrest, without. We're battling with ourselves every day, even if the world's not burning. So, let's fix it here, and then we can fix everything else. But we got to fix it here first.
You need to fix yourself first, and you need to focus on yourself first before you can focus on the others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's just
Except
like in
if
an
you're a parent.
airplane. You got to put the mask on yourself before you can help others. Because if you're
Exactly.
fucking passing out, you're not going to help anyone else out.
Exactly.
So, and there's 2 exits are in the back of the plane. So there you go. Right.
And don't forget about the flying devices under your
And
seat.
if you're gonna have sex on the plane, please wear a condom. I don't think they say that. I don't think they care.
No, I don't think they.
I wouldn't say that. I'd be like, just clean up after yourself. I don't care if it's safe sex.
It's just like, how can you fit there, sir? Don't you? Us Americans are heavy sets. How can you fit? two
Dude, no
people?
shit. Those were not full-size Americans.
Mm-mm.
Well, maybe it was first class. This ain't happening in no fucking coach, is all I'm saying. You know,
No, it's
not the
not.
planes we fly in.
No,
The ones
not
with
in
the
our
chickens,
tax bracket.
the ones with the chickens and the Irish people.
Yeah. No, not not when the fucking engine is literally right behind you and you can't hear shit. You need to wear like freaking earplugs
Yeah.
because you're so freaking loud. What?
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 What'd you say?
Do you want peanuts? What?
Yeah, I want penis. I mean peanuts.
Yeah, I'll
You
take
said
3.
penis, right? I want
Penis?
3. 3 penises?
I'll
Coming
take
right
3.
up.
I'll take an extra 3-incher
He
of
didn't say
penises for me.
he didn't say if he wanted them flaccid. So beggars can't be choosers.
You get what you're asked for.
No complaints.
Oh.
And on that note, guys, we leave you with 3 dicks. No, no, and on that note, guys, just let's work on our conscious discipline with ourselves, and we all are works in progress, and we're just doing this as a vent / helpful platform for you guys. Don't ever take it like obviously I don't think anyone suspects that we got it all together, but
Hell no.
although we do sound a lot chippery,
Mm-hmm.
chippier than we sounded on our first few episodes, and I feel like that's good. But I also feel like that's the soul being healing. So
yeah, that's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal.
Pozole for the soul, right?
I'm more of a birria type of guy.
Well, I know, but I was doing the whole chicken noodle soup
Yeah,
for the soul.
yeah.
I was trying to
Yeah.
diversify a little bit, all right?
You're trying to be
Trying to appropriate.
appropriate.
I was trying to appropriate the situation, all right?
All right.
I was trying to be hip.
I like chicken soup though. You should just use chicken soup.
Dude, I do, but I'm such it's so vanilla. I gotta add hot sauce.
Oh,
and at that point, it might as well be pozole. So
yeah, you're right.
I mean, there's no hominy in it, but no. But see, what I'll do is I'll throw some tortillas and some hot sauce in there, so it's chicken tortilla soup, basically.
Which sounds delicious.
Which sounds way better than chicken noodle soup.
Yeah, it sounds delicious.
I'm just a fan of the Mexican people and their food, and everything else is a silver medal.
But we just don't want them to come over.
Well, I didn't say that.
Wow, that was me. That was the Mexican who said it. I'm sorry.
This is what happens. This is what happens when we assume that all Mexicans love other Mexicans, which surprisingly is definitely not true.
Yeah, we don't, but we kind of do.
You don't, but you do when you're not in Mexico.
Yeah.
When you're in Mexico, everyone else can go fuck themselves. But when you're out of Mexico, it's like this unified Latino heat movement, dude.
You to their face, you love them. Behind their back, you fucking hate them. You wish the worst from behind their back. But
the only time different Latinos feel kinship is probably when they're around white people or just black people.
Or like,
because then they're gonna be like, okay, we're the only Latin people here. Cool, we're gonna chill.
Or if you're both like, okay, we both hate that type of Latin.
Yeah, or that too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you don't like Puerto Ricans? Me neither. Cool.
Okay. Wait, you're not Cuban, are you? All right, good, because I hate Cubans. Oh, you hate Cubans too? All right, cool.
I love platanos.
I love those cigars, though.
I really do love, because El Salvadorian food has a lot of bananas in it too, right?
Yeah, they got
because of the fucking because this place we go to, huh?
Oh, which one?
Well, this place we go to in Tracy, they do really, really good pupusas. And Steph doesn't really like it, but I hella like it because they do the plantains with the beans.
Yeah.
And you eat the bananas with the beans. Oh, dude, it's so fucking good. And like, it's not for everybody, but I really like it because the plantains aren't like a banana. It's a little different.
Yeah. So for all the shit I talk about Cubans, my older siblings are half Cubans. So
that's why probably. Yeah,
that's probably why. No, but they took us out to a Cuban restaurant once, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And like they served us like black beans and like plantain, and they're like teaching us how to eat, and like, "Oh no, you gotta mix it all together." And I'm like, "This shit looks nasty." And then you start like you take a bite, and you're like, "Son of a bitch, this is delicious."
And that's the thing about black beans is it makes your rice look whack.
Yeah,
but it's hella good. Like when
And
you
at
mix it
first,
with the yeah.
and against that pride thing, you're like, fuck, I don't want to tell them it's just fucking delicious.
Just give me some goddamn pinto beans. Fuck these black beans.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. I'm more of a pinto guy myself.
Yeah, I love refried. Refried is my style.
Refried's really good too.
That's my style, but not bad. And on that note,
On that note, we leave you with beans. Enjoy your farts, enjoy yourselves, and be kind.
peace.
Later.